I learned a valuable lesson this week, but before I go into that, I'd like to start off with what I did off camera. I applied a black acrylic to the canvas and waited for it to dry, then added a coat of alizarin crimson on top as my base coat. I'm going to mention now that this isn't shared in the original video. That is until about halfway through that he had used the acrylic black first. Instead, he just says he put down a coat of the red. I'm happy that I've been watching these videos in advance, or I would have ran into some trouble with this one. As I've mentioned before that I'm new to oil painting, so the valuable lesson I learned this week has a little to do with that. It is the difference between acrylic brushes and oil paint brushes. This isn't something I had thought of much. Quick story, I had to go to the craft store to pick up the black acrylic. As you can see, I'm at a different location for this one, so I was without my normal supply of paint. While I was there, I looked at the fan brushes. Like most craft stores, the paint brushes were organized by paint medium and cost. The place I normally go to doesn't separate the oil and acrylic brushes, but this store did. The main difference I noticed was how stiff the bristles were. I had a lot of problems with my fan brush last time, and I now know why. The oil paint being thick, it is much better to have stiffer brushes. I picked up 2 of the oil fan paint brushes, and that made an enormous difference. This is when I found the satisfaction of smacking my brush on the metal stand. I now know why Bob Ross does this. It's very effective at removing the paint thinner from the brush and leaving very little moisture left. As for the change of scenery, I went to my dad's to paint because I wanted a place where I could be slightly messier. My dad paints in this building, and I knew a little spilt thinner or a splatter of paint wouldn't be a problem. The setup forced me to stand, which I'm fine with, as I used to stand and draw as a child, but the painting stand was at an awkward height for me. I would have liked it up higher. Now on to the actual painting. I really liked the effect with the red background when adding the yellow of the sun. I was deliberately sloppy with the horizon, making sure it wouldn't be straight, but would have the illusion of rolling hills. I added the hills and highlighted them with yellow using my new fan brush. After adding the reflections in the water, I moved on to the trees sitting on my distant hills. I increased the size of the trees as I moved to the right, adding depth to the painting. With the stiffer brushes, my trees looked perkier than the ones in my previous painting. I finished the background by adding the shoreline with yellow. After that point is where everything went wrong. I oversaturated my brushes with green and it clumped as I applied it to the painting. When I compare my colors to Bob's, I also think I may have used the wrong color of green, as mine stands out more against the black background. The addition of the trunks defines the trees in the foreground. I may have used a bit too much white here. I used too much of the phthalic green when I added the highlights to the trees, and the result was a very light green instead of the yellow he had. I didn't have a jar to pour my magic white into, so I was pouring it directly on the palette. That didn't work very well. I used it up too quickly and thinned the paint too much, limiting the layers I was able to achieve. It all ended up very goopy on the bristles. Trying to fix it only seemed to make it worse. I lost all the nice yellows and oranges that made the original painting as beautiful as it is. I added sticks by scratching the canvas, and I really like the effect this leaves on the painting. I dropped my plants too low on the canvas, forgetting about the path, so I didn't have much room for it at this point. I tried to add the rock at the bottom, but I was out of space, and I attempted to add a little yellow to the already saturated canvas, which resulted in spreading the blue around. I don't remember what comments I had about this painting attempt at this point, as it has been well over a year since I painted it. The software I use for editing has had problems for several months after I recorded it, in which it would delete any progress I would make on editing the footage. After hours of lost edits and general life getting in the way, I lost interest. I plan on getting back to this project again as I want to improve, and will be posting my next video soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.